This is Tech Addicts. This week, all the goss from Mobile World Congress, with the Xiaomi 13 and 13 Pro, Motorola Rizr, TCL announcements, a MiraDock, the OnePlus 11 concept phone, and PWAs. How do you use yours? Hello and welcome to the Tech Addicts podcast. I am your host Gareth, and this is your co-host Ted.
Hello everyone, greetings from sunny and warm North Wales. I couldn't believe what happened to the weather yesterday. It was freezing cold, snowing, blowing a hoolie, and then all of a sudden about midnight last night the temperature went up to about 10 or 12 degrees, and then that's it, a complete switch around, and it's now sunny and bright and warm and like the middle of summer.
Good grief. Yeah, it's chucking it down here. Banging off the skylight as we speak. Although in my little tropic of Bangor, it's very little snow has fallen around here. There has been in certain areas of Bangor, but we've managed to avoid most of the snow. But I did have to drive out to the centre of the country the other day, where there was about a foot's worth of snow had fallen. Yeah. So it was we did get quite the dusting, much like the mainland. So, did you suffer much from snow?
Yeah, we had quite a bit of snow during the last few days. But if you look at the, it's quite interesting to watch the Met Office mapping and stuff. They're all so clever these days. They kind of know exactly what's coming, and they show you these graphics, and you can see exactly why last night it just suddenly became all hot, and they show you the wave of the jet stream. I love watching the Met Office stuff. It's really good fun. It's my most regularly visited YouTube channel, I think.
As opposed to the Amon Diarmas appreciation channel.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, we mustn't. Here, where's Ricky?
Oh, little Ricky is, he's off, I don't know if we should mention, should we? He's getting hitched. A family occasion. Yes. So he will be back on the next show. And unfortunately, can't make it to this one.
I hope you're docking his pay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm paying him even less than zero. Excellent. Just having a quick look at Met Office now to see how bad things are going to get over the course of the day. And there's just one big blue area over good old Northern Ireland, so it looks like the rain's on for the day.
Right, okay then. Well, perhaps it's on its way here as well. I can't remember what it said about this afternoon. But yeah, Monday's going to go a bit colder again. But you could see exactly why. If we're talking about technology on the Tech Addicts podcast, I guess that complies. Because the technology behind meteorology and forecasting of weather is just fascinating, I find.
It is.
It's a bit of a nerdy kind of cul-de-sac, probably, but I just love watching it. All joking aside, they do this half-hour podcast as well, and I'm transfixed by it.
Excellent. Well, I did hear you on Whatever Works talking about your little weather stations, and do you think they're accurate as well?
The Met Office, the weather stations I think are accurate, but the Met Office I find is the most accurate forecaster of all of them, and I've tested them all against each other. The BBC over-egg everything. I've stopped looking at the BBC one, because if it's going to be windy, then the BBC will say it's going to be a gale. And if it's going to be a gale, it's going to be a tornado. They just make it's the Michael Fish syndrome, isn't it? You just make it sound worse than it is all the time. So I got fed up with that. The Google app on my phone doesn't tend to get it very right. And I've tried quite a few of these apps and services, and the Met Office just seems to get it on the nail most of the time.
Yeah. I do remember back in the day on Channel 4, I think it was, years ago, there was it Naked Weather they did?
don't
Whether it
recall
be a
that.
topless lady introducing the weather quite late at night. It was great.
Yes.
I don't know whether or not it was
Remember
accurate, but
Scorchio.
that's right.
Where's that from?
Fast show.
Oh, the Fast Show. Yeah. Scorchio.
One word could make you laugh. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Well, hopefully the weather will get better because it's obviously coming into summer now, and this is probably the last of it. And I remember over the last couple of Marches, the good weather has kind of eked in around now, and I have heard a few lawnmowers going in the last couple of weeks, which is always a signal of reminding you of your mature responsibilities during the summer of having to do the bloody garden.
Yeah.
Oh.
And also my moped will start working.
Oh yeah.
I had a right fight. I had a right fight with it yesterday. It was like, eventually, after about 10 attempts, it actually fired the blooming engine, and I did a little jig. If people were watching me, they probably would have thought I was mad. I punched the air and did a jig. So, yes, it started.
Thank goodness you're on that site on your own. Aside from your dubious neighbours.
Dear, yes.
Right, okay, well, we'll wade into... I don't think there's any feedback, is there?
No, not that's repeatable.
Yes.
No one else is slagging you off for going fortnightly this week.
No, thankfully, but maybe they're just getting used to it now, or they've gone and found a better podcast that goes out weekly, because younger people have more energy and things like that. So us oldies, we struggle to get up in the morning. But last Sunday was joyous, absolutely joyous.
Good.
What are we doing? Oh yeah, Tech Addicts. Right, okay.
Podcast,
Yeah. Okay, well, Mobile World Congress is a swinging. Well, it
it's
has
finished.
been a swinging. Yes, it's
gone.
over.
I couldn't believe
it's done its swing.
I couldn't believe that it had gone so quickly. I woke up one day and it was all in full swing, and then the next day it was just gone.
Yeah,
what a shame. Anyway, sorry, back to you.
But that's how time passes when you're older. Before you know it, it's done. Yeah. We have TCL have announced a few exciting little devices, and the first couple are tablets. There's the Nxtpaper, which is next but without the E, Nxtpaper 11, and the TCL Tab 10. And the Nxtpaper features Nxtpaper 2.0 technology. I'm going to try not to say Nxtpaper for the rest of the show, okay? See how well that lasts. It's got a 10.95-inch IPS display, which is 2000 by 1200 full HD plus resolution display type thing. It comes in a couple of different colours. It's got quad speakers. It's got Android 13. It's powered by a MediaTek Helio P60T system on chip. It's got an 8000 mAh battery, and it promises to be much nicer on the eyes. It's designed to reduce eye strain, as well as reduce screen glare, and have automatic colour temperature adjustment and things like that to allow you to have a better time whilst browsing and doing stuff.
Particularly with a stylus.
Particularly with a stylus, yes.
Well, they reckon that the thing feels like paper when you're stylusing on it, yeah.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And it's
right.
a kind of, yeah.
Well, on the other side of that, they've also developed the TCL Tab 11, which is geared toward media consumption, and it doesn't feature any of those eye preservation features, so it's designed to gouge your eyes out. It's got a 10.95 IPS display, which is pretty much the same as the one before. It's got that Helio P60T inside of it as well, and the 8000 mAh battery, so it is pretty much the same, just without that special technology to preserve your eyes. So you've got healthy and unhealthy. The difference being the price, because the Nxtpaper one is $249, whereas the non-Nxtpaper, the Tab 11, is $179. They're very nice looking tablets, I have to say. I quite fancy the one without all the eye preservation stuff. What about you, Ted?
No, I'd go the other way. I want to see that in action and see how good it is. I've been playing with my stylus on my folding Samsung phone, and they've put this audio feedback in it as well. So when you're writing, it sounds like you're writing on paper. It's quite funny.
I don't know about that now.
It'd be interesting to see what they do with this, with TCL Nxtpaper, or however you say it. They probably say it as Nxtpaper, I would guess.
Well, you'd like to think so, but yeah, it's an annoying way to have that people do this, where they just drop the vowels and expect you to be able to incorporate it into day-to-day language. So there's a couple of phones as well. There's the 40XE 5G, there's the 40X 5G, and the 40XL. What's the difference between all of these there, dear Ted?
Well, the XL version, as you might imagine, is bigger. The other two are smaller. They're all three of them are budget phones, 720p screens with low-end Dimensity 700s and Helio G37 on it. So that these are not flagships by any stretch. In fact, one of the only one that's got 128 gigabytes of storage on it is the XL as well. So I'm not quite sure why we're talking about these, to be honest. They're budget phones. The most you can pay for one of these is 190 euros, and the cheap one is 140 euros. So I mean, good for TCL if they're looking at the market for budget devices. Perhaps they're pushing them out to India or whatever. I don't know. I'm not quite sure where TCL's market domination is these days.
I thought it was America, yeah, the US. These
would
would probably be locked to a carrier or something, maybe.
Okay, they're kids and granny phones.
Yes, that's exactly it. But 720p in 2023?
Yeah.
Nah. Well, I'm sure you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, but
actually, I can. I can tell the difference between 720 and 1080. I do agree, but beyond that, I'm lost.
All right. Well, Motorola has grabbed some headlines for their rollable phone concept, which actually looks really, really cool. It's a smaller form factor, and it has a screen that kind of loops around the bottom of it and up the back a good bit, and it allows you to have, if you were to set it face down, you would have a screen that faces you that can show bits and pieces, and then when you hit a button on it, the main screen will rise up. When you're holding the phone facing you, the main screen will rise up and pull that little bit of screen back round, and adopt a full 6.5-inch screen in front of your face. It's really cool to see it in action, and I'm dead excited about this. I hope this becomes a thing, and it's done by a company that isn't Motorola. Definitely think of this.
Somebody that's going to update their phones now and again. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you're right. The tech looks absolutely fabulous. What a great idea as well. Forget about tall phones and folding phones and blah, blah, blah. Just make it a rolling phone and roll it out when you want to use it. We don't know much about this really. The tech for the screen, who knows what it is and how robust it might be and when and if it ever actually makes it to market. I don't know. It's a bit of a concept really. But it's really interesting. Dinky little phone, almost the size of a flip phone in your pocket, which for a lot of things you could just use as is, but when you want to do something more, like watching a film or something, you can open it up. So yeah, I'm with you on this.
Well, the one thing I thought was pretty darn good was the software side of things, because in the video they show a YouTube video being played. I think it's a YouTube video, or at least a video of some description. And they extend the screen whilst it's playing, and it updates very naturally to the larger screen size as it's slowly rolling out, because it takes, I think it's 5 seconds or something, or 3 seconds for it to achieve its maximum length. It just the video works nicely around that. It's the same with the camera feature as well, where it expands gradually as it's extending. It's a really nice. It looks like it's close to hitting market. It doesn't feel like a real sort of working concept. It actually looks like they might be, just working on the final designs or whatever, and the software is there to be able to do what this needs to do. I've got a funny feeling we might see this fairly soon, maybe even before the end of the year.
Cool.
Cool, indeed. Don't quote me on that, but... what you can quote me on is the fact that the Razr 2023 is happening. Motorola has confirmed it, and Ted, you sound excited about this.
Well, yeah, only because it's got a whacking great big screen on the front. But I think that Samsung are going to do that as well this year, as I think we said a fortnight ago. But getting more information on the outside screen is just so much better as an idea. And obviously with the Flip 3, which I've got here, they hadn't got there yet, and they now have. And with the Oppo going that way as well, this has made it even more space on the outside. The more you can do on the outside screen, the better, I say. We've yet to see if what sort of battery hit it'll take because of that, but we'll obviously find that out somewhere down the road. But it's interesting that it's now being done, and it's being put out there. I hope that Motorola do a commitment on the updates as well, like they did with the Edge 30 Ultra, with these newer devices at least, and people can buy with confidence. It looks great, doesn't it? Don't you think?
I do. It looks a bit busy on that front-facing screen, and I see that they've sort of I've the wrong link there. I see they've focused a little bit on the notification shade and the function around there with the back button and the home button on it. So it looks like they're trying to pack as much as possible into that front-facing screen.
Yay! You don't think that's good? I think that's good, because what you've got with the Flip, the Samsung Flip, is you've got a very limited outside screen bunch of options and widgets, and there's no real control, and there's no real feeling as though you're accessing what's inside the phone. Whereas with this, you do. It's all there. You can launch stuff and you can look at stuff. It might be cramped, as you say, but if it's too cramped for you, at that point, you open it up and carry on inside. It's the best of both worlds. I can't see that there's any argument.
All right, then. Well, Robert,
is that a flash? Oh, yeah, I suppose it is, isn't it? Right in the middle of the screen, down the bottom there, next to the two cameras, there's an LED flash. That's a bit annoying, isn't it? Still, I suppose, what else could they do with it?
They could have placed it. Well, it looks like it's in the middle, sort of like maybe on the opposite side of it is where the selfie camera is.
Right.
Right.
I wouldn't have thought somewhere. Would be. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see, won't we? When's it coming? Very soon, they say. Very soon.
At some point in 2023. Just before they're rootable. The Rizr. Yes. Okay. Next up,
that's a great name, isn't it? The Rizr. I mean, for once they've actually thought about a good name for something.
Yes, yeah.
Rizr.
It's a good name. The Xiaomi 13 and the Xiaomi 13 Pro were launched by China last year, but they were displayed at Mobile World Congress this time. They look like a couple of really nice phones. I think it is the design. I just really like the design. They have, a bit like the iPhone, those flat edges that I think we've remarked on a couple of times before. Yes.
Yes.
And around the side, and I like that look. I'm glad that that's sort of being ported across, but somewhat shamelessly by some of these companies. I know the Oppo Reno 8 Pro that I have here, it has the same design to it as well, and it really feels good in the hand. I like flat edges on my phone as opposed to
the big one hasn't, though, has it?
Well, I was just looking across that because I had noticed that it seems a bit different.
Yeah, the Pro comes to a more traditional kind of wedgy shape on the side,
Tapered edges.
Yeah, the 13 itself is the one that looks like an iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for that reason that the 13 is much more exciting. I'd much rather have that in my hand. The 13 Pro does look an awful lot more like a Pixel or a Samsung S23-ish type thing. But yeah, no, it's all down to looks with these. Obviously, the specs are pretty terrific, and the colours are lovely too. It has a 6.73 LTPO AMOLED panel, and it's got 120 hertz, and sits at 14.4p resolution.
Except the 13 itself is the dinky one.
It is,
so
yeah.
It's 6.3 inches, which is, as you said just now, I think that's a much nicer size, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm just looking for the actual differences between the two whenever it comes to the innards. You know, is the Pro just the Pro because it's got the bigger screen?
It's got a bigger screen. It's got a higher. It's got a higher PPI with a 1440p panel as opposed to 1080p. It's got a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, whereas the 13. Oh, yeah, that's got a 13. The same on the 13.
It's the same.
The what else is different? It's got OIS in the main camera, 50 megapixels, 3 point. No, that's the same, isn't it?
I don't see too many differences. I would go for the non-Pro.
Oh, 120 watt wireless charging over 67 watt, if that makes a difference to people.
Okay.
Yeah. They are quite similar, aren't they? I think you're right. It's just in the body shape that they seem to be different.
Yeah, I can't see. I'm sure there are some differences in there that people will be able to dig out and call me a wanker for not noticing that it had something.
Gorilla Glass Victus. There you go.
Ah, right, okay, there. No, I'm sorry, I'm a wanker. And the battery's slightly different as well. But, yeah. No, I think it works. Yeah, I'd much rather have the 13 over the 13 Pro. There.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
Oh, 12 gigabytes of RAM as opposed to 8.
And there's a light version, which we spoke about on the last show, because they're putting that dynamic island thingy in it, which looks a bit silly on that device. It looks quite nice on an iPhone, I think.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do this on GSM Arena. I want to look around it, do that size me up thing where you can have it rotate just to see the.
If you click on the link in the show notes I put in there, you can go straight there, and you will be able to get access to that size up thing straight away.
No, I can't see it anywhere.
What?
Maybe they haven't done it for this one. Oh yes, got it.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was taking a wee bit to load. Oh yeah, that's nice. I like that. I would have that happily.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my new favourite phone, Xiaomi 13. Cool. All right, not my new favourite phone is the new Cat S75, isn't it? Yeah, the 75. This is somewhat of an indestructible phone, but it has two-way satellite messaging, and it's being sold with some tariffs that allow you to have a certain amount of messages each month, where you can have 30 messages for an extra €5. Ted, you like your indestructible phones? Would this work?
I do
with
think
you?
I think it is all quite good fun, and there's the Bullet Group who are behind this build, who are selling it out on the Cat brand name, are also selling it out on the Motorola Defy brand name. So we'll see Motorola getting one of these as well. Very, very similar. Now Cat have got the about as good a reputation for updating phones as Motorola have. So no doubt if you buy one of these, then you're not going to get much of an update. But yeah, it's got things like the red SOS button and all the rest of it. But they're selling it, you're quite right, on the back of this satellite messenger thingy, which takes what Apple have done and moved it a step on, where you can actually communicate two ways with it and send messages to people and not just call the emergency services. It does look like a nice phone, and it looks like it's completely robust, a bit like the Nokia XR20, and no doubt that they are giving a real good guarantee with it and all the rest of it. But the surprising thing I saw was that the price, £550. I don't
Well, it does
understand.
have a decent amount inside it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't quite get why it's so cheap. Unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, I thought you were thinking that was quite expensive.
No, not at all. No, compared to other devices, I think, that have got similar specs in them. I think that I was expecting it to be more. It's ruggedized IP69, which I've never seen before. It's to do with high temperature water jets or something, the extra bit. Oh, hang on a minute. Look, I didn't see this bit. It's being promised 5 years of security updates, and it will get Android 14. You see, we're almost on 14 already, and they're only promising to go up to 14. You see, that's what's annoying, I think. Anyway, yeah, it looks like a nice phone, and if you are not bothered about updates and you work on a building site, it'll be perfect.
The thing that made me scratch my head a wee bit was the rear fingerprint sensor. Don't builders generally wear gloves?
And they don't tend to wear nail polish either. That picture they put in there is of a. Oh, I suppose what they're saying. This person is a hiker, not a building site. It's someone going off into the wilds, and it will survive that as well. Right? Okay.
I suppose we can let them away with that, but builders will have to take their gloves off to be able to do it. But the SOS key, that worries me. It needs to have some sort of special design, doesn't it? How does that work?
You can assign it.
I know, but you'd end up hitting it accidentally, or if you were to drop your phone, it could hit it off, and then before you know it, you're swarmed with Apache gunships and things like that.
Well, the one in the Nokia XR20 is actually indented. It's flush with the. You've got to press it with a nail to the end of your finger to activate it. So I guess it's probably the same as that.
Again, builders wear gloves, so they'd have to take it off whenever.
It's for adventurers as well.
Okay. All right. Realme, blimey. Realme now has 300-watt charging technology.
No, Redmi.
It feels like Redmi. Sorry, you can understand why that happened. Realme and Redmi are identical. They've demonstrated the new 300-watt charging tech, and they've charged a 4,100 milliamp hour battery in under 5 minutes. That's quite quick. Is that the police or an ambulance?
Mad. Have they come round? They come round to get you, have they?
Maybe, or maybe they've come from your neighbours.
They've caught up with you. That dodgy computer you got in the cellar.
That's a Spectrum. It's not dodgy. It can get a 50% charge in under 3 minutes and a full 100% charge in under 5 minutes, which is pretty incredible. But obviously you've got to have a 300-watt plug.
You've also got to have a specially designed, what is it they're using? A modified Redmi Note 12 Discovery Edition in order to do this, and go to their lab to do it, because this is just a design concept thingy. They haven't actually done this. It's they've just demonstrated what could be possible if you've got enough boffins with big glasses on in a lab in China. But yeah, interesting that it's moving forward.
Big glasses? What, like Timmy Mallet?
Yeah.
Safety glasses. Oh, right. Yes. Okay. I reckon that this is the sort of thing that they will try to get out into their phones, because it is a race to see who can get as much charging as quickly as possible at the moment between the companies here. And if they're showing this off, they must be looking to try and get that in, because why would you just go, oh, look what we can do behind closed doors?
Well, some places do that, like Motorola with their walk into a room and charge your phone by Qi charging wherever you are in the room concept that never
That's
went
not
anywhere.
just Motorola. There are other places that are doing that as well, and they're looking to roll that out into train stations and things like that, and have it available where you can. It doesn't necessarily charge your phone, but it'll just keep it level, so that you can show off a ticket if you need to have a ticket or on your phone or something.
Ticket,
they want to be able to do that.
Show me your ticket.
Tickets, please. Yeah. Well, but it's actively going on. So
Sorry.
This is actively going on as well. We're going to do that. Right. You can tell us through whilst I have a wee drink because my throat's starting to go already.
Right.
Honor is doing a new longer software update, Paul. Hey.
Yeah, they are, and that's good news. But the trouble is that it's only for the VS and the Magic 5 Pro, not even the Magic 5, no other devices. It's good that they're doing this, a bit like Motorola have with the Edge 30 Ultra, saying we'll actually tell you what we're doing, and we will promise this, and Honor are doing the same. But it's only the top-end phones and only going forward. No backporting to anything else and nothing other than the top-end expensive phones. What they're doing is they're promising 3 OS updates from new and 5 years of security. And that's absolutely great. But let's have more of it and more devices, not just the most blooming expensive ones, you gits.
Damn you and your charity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I'm with you there, but it's probably one of those things that they need to feel whether or not it's something that people actually want. But it's a bit of a shame because I think Ricky was actually going to be bringing one or maybe both of these devices to us this week, so we'll have to wait a fortnight for his views as to whether or not. Well, his news as to whether he got them to play with, or if he shipped them back already. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Samsung, Oppo, and OnePlus are offering 4 major OS updates plus 5 years of security updates, whereas Honor are sort of wee bit playing catch up.
Yeah.
With 3 major operating system updates and 5 security patches. It does help justify those 2 devices because they are so expensive.
Yeah, I suppose so. But Samsung and Apple are just uncatchable at the moment. They're just doing it. Well, unless you want to include Fairphone. Fairphone are also doing it the same. But the trouble with Fairphone is they take so long to roll the updates out. They take forever. Whereas Samsung are doing it like a month after Google do. And the update sequences are better than Google's to start with. And they're all trying to catch up with Apple. It's great. I think it's good competition. And it means it will be better for users who can keep their phones for longer lengths of time. This week we've had to ditch my dad's phone because it's fallen out of security. And he's not happy about that. And that was only 2 years old, that phone. And
Which phone was it? Name and shame.
The Nokia 7.2. So that was a cheaper phone, fair enough, but it was before Nokia started doing this whole guaranteed Android One 3 years of everything kind of thing, which is what they're doing now. Yeah. Backporting to these devices is obviously expensive and difficult for people.
Yeah. I do remember getting a bit annoyed when I had, was it the Samsung Tab S8? And the latest version of Android rolled out to a whole load of other devices first, and devices way down the line. I think my wife, whatever she had at the time, she got it before me. I was just a wee bit miffed by that I had one of the most expensive Samsung products sitting in front of me, and I was still on the previous version of goddamn Android.
They're very good, though, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, before we get letters, I'm going to tell you that the Nokia 7.2 was released in September 19. How many years is that? 2.5.
4 years ago.
3.5. 3.5 years. So actually, I'd probably take that back. They did support it quite well. No letters, please.
No lettuce?
No. Okay. No salad.
No. Salad days are over. Right. OnePlus has unveiled a new concept phone that has this active cryo flux, which is been insane. It has a built-in cooling system called the Active Cryo Flux, and this will cool your processor to allow you to do stuff faster, play games better, and they say that it should be able to reduce temperatures by up to 2.1 degrees C, which is good for another 3 to 4 frames per second in a game. During charging, the temperatures can come down by 1.6 degrees C, shaving off 30 to 45 seconds of charging time. And that's what we're all looking for, isn't it? 30 seconds less charging every day. But I suppose in the world that we live in, if everyone had one of these, that would probably help green targets and things like that by everyone charging just 30 seconds or 45 seconds less. Am I right?
Yeah, I think this is probably... let's look. What it says here is, active cryoflux is a fancy term for what is essentially a closed-loop liquid cooling system, the sort you'd find on a desktop PC, but miniaturized greatly for a phone. At the heart of the system is a ceramic piezoelectric micro pump, which circulates fluids through a series of tubes between an upper and lower diaphragm. The micropump... goodness sake. So essentially what they're saying is all this tech is already in existence in gaming PCs, by the sounds of it, and they just miniaturized it in this concept just to show everyone that they can do it.
Yeah. Actually, I installed one of those in my PC last week.
Did you?
I did.
Very exciting.
Well, yes. I think it really is, and it makes my Ryzen very much cooler and faster and more fun, and the ladies dig it.
You can fiddle with your cryoflux.
Yes. My pipes are constantly full of fluids. Oh, God. No.
Enough.
Yes, moving on. What are we talking about next? MiraDock. Oh, yes, this looks cool. Or have I missed anything out? No, I haven't. Yeah, we're talking about this next. The Miraxess MiraDock, Miraxess. It turns some smartphones into desktop computers. I like to think of this a wee bit like the Nxtdock. It's a wee dock that you can put your phone into, and it's got a bunch of ports on the back, and it allows you to harness Samsung DeX, that Motorola thing that you keep banging on about. Huawei's attempt into a proper desktop experience, and it's a really cool looking wee dock that charges your phone and gives you Ethernet, gives you 4 USBs, a micro SD card, a regular size SD card, audio out, USB Type-C ×2, HDMI out. Looks great. And it's cute. Are you going to buy one of these?
Yeah, it does look right. But it's only going to work with phones, just to be clear. It's only going to work with phones that have got HDMI out. So that needs to be enabled. So if you've already got a phone that works with, like, as you say, a Samsung phone that's got DeX capability, or a ready-for Motorola phone, or Huawei's easy projection, which no one's ever heard about outside of China, then you can stick this thing on. And you're right, it's a flexible tool. It doesn't do anything more in terms of getting your experience into your computer, but it's got, as you say, lots of options as a hub for adding peripherals and HDMIing out and all sorts of other exciting stuff. So, and as you say, card slots and audio, and yeah, it's absolutely lovely. And if it wasn't on a Kickstarter campaign and it was available in the shops, I might well buy one of these because it's just super. But I'm not taking a risk on Kickstarter. €139. Forget that.
I don't think that's too bad of a price, given the amount of connections that's on there. Obviously, the early renders of it look quite tacky plastic. I don't like the plastic that they're using. But I do reckon if they were to sort of soup that up and put sort of a rubberized plastic over the top of it, so it would just feel a bit more solid.
Yeah, I do like the idea though. to sit between your device and your computer, or your device and your telly. Because, if you've got your telly on the go. Also, if you've got a folding Samsung phone like I have, you could then use it as a trackpad. I was talking about that on PSC yesterday, that when you open up the Fold, the Samsung Galaxy Fold, you have a huge trackpad which you can then utilise for whatever you want. It's absolutely great. Love it.
You have a keyboard as well, actually. If you were to use both screens like that, you can have one side's keyboard, the other side's trackpad.
You see that thing on the right-hand side, that yellow thing? I had to click on that to see what it was. It's called the Potato P, a homemade laptop that should run for 2 years on one charge.
Potato P.
Can you see that on the right-hand side? It's got a little
it's got a
LCD
solar panel on it.
Solar panel and an LCD little panel. Anyway, we digress.
Yeah, the keyboard certainly looks like something off an old Amstrad during the 80s.
Yeah. That looks really funny.
Anyway, moving on. Oppo's upcoming flagship could have a rather nice, bright display. They're talking about actually putting a 2400 nit display on the Oppo Find X6 Pro. Were we not just talking about the Nxtpaper and not gouging your eyes out with bright screens? And yes. Oppo were coming along and going, well, this is really going to mess you up now.
They're all trying to keep up with Apple, aren't they? Because apparently Apple's iPhone 14 Pro, or Pro Max I think it is actually, has got a 2000 nit peak brightness in auto mode. Oppo are coming along and saying, well, we're not having that, we want to do better than that, so we'll have a 2400 one. Who's going to up us on that? 2600 someone?
More than likely. I wonder who that'll be next.
But that is, I'm sure that's really, really bright. They're talking about being able to take it outside in bright sunlight in the middle of Tunisia and still be able to use it as if you're in the house.
Oh, right, okay. Is this phone only in Tunisia?
No, that was just the first place that came to mind where I thought it must be bright all the time. Well, not at night.
Okay, fair enough. Not Mercury, then. No. All right.
No.
Right. So, I read this wrong. I thought it was talking about the Nothing speaker, as in a speaker from nothing stood up for the first time ever. But it's not. It's the Nothing speaker, which is a speaker built by the Nothing company that they might be showing off relatively soon. And we've got a mock-up that someone has put together over on XDA Developers. 91 Mobiles is showing off something that looks it's got squares and it's got circles in it. It's got some ovular bits as well. And then it's got some more squares. Rectangles, actually. We'll go with rectangles because none of them seem to be squares. I apologise for saying squares. I'll probably get crucified for making that mistake.
What's that thing at the top?
Speaker?
What's that thing at the top? Is that a handle?
I'd like to think it's a handle.
A carry handle?
Yes.
I did read a subsequent update to this story this morning, which seemed to be suggesting this is not a speaker at all, but it's something that Nothing have thrown together in order to tease their wonderful upcoming earbuds. And it's just a thing to just get people's tongues wagging, and everyone seems to think it's a new speaker. I don't know, it might be, but that's just something that I read this morning, that maybe it's not a speaker. I don't know.
So they've got someone else to go and do a crap render of a company, or of a product that doesn't exist.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. There's an event coming up, isn't there, next month? And Carl Pei is good at this, isn't he? Just generating publicity out of nothing. And I wouldn't be surprised if 91 Mobiles were in cahoots with him. They said, let's do some sort of render to just get tongues wagging. And actually, it's nothing to do with speakers. We're not going to make a speaker. It's just... anyway, we don't know, do we?
Well, possibly.
And how big is it? Is that something you put on the back of your car, or is it something that it goes in your front jeans pocket?
Well, I imagine the buttons on the side are probably the same size as the ends of your fingers, if not slightly smaller. And then on the top, if that's a carry handle, it'll probably be the size of your hand, not a crane. So I think it's probably going to be kind of handbag sized.
Okay. I follow
But
your
it
logic.
defies logic that they would have one circular speaker on the front and then one not so circular. What would you call that? That's ovular?
Yeah, I suppose so. It's pill shaped.
Yes, just like the handle at the top. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of buttons on the left-hand side as well, one of which is red, which would indicate recording, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe. And that thing in the middle, that circular one, seems to have some sort of dot matrix display going on. I mean, who knows? This is... You see, if this is all just to get tongues wagging, we're playing right into their trap, aren't we?
We are, yes. Maybe Carl's going to be listening now, going, we've even got tech addicts listening.
We've got them.
Mongrels. But it might not be nothing, because it does say NOT in the wee circle as it's sticking across there, but it could be SNOT. That could have been what it was saying.
Yes, good point.
Is there any evidence to say otherwise? Right. Yes, moving on. Huawei. Oh, those naughty, naughty people at Huawei. Oh, they're at it again. And it's going to become one of those things that you just can't do anything without Huawei tracking you. They just get trackers everywhere. It appears that they've been caught tracking people at Mobile World Congress. They've been handing out the Huawei card, which has a little keyring attached to it that tracks you as you go. They say that it's entirely an RFID with Bluetooth compatibility that they have been using inside their Huawei exhibition area that shows your real-time location information and the residence time information so that they can track to see who's where and how long they're spending at various different things. But it's just within the exhibition area. But, it's one of those things. Did they notify anyone of that beforehand? Do they have any proof that it's just inside that exhibition area? If you walk outside of it, does it suddenly scramble and they can't follow you around? It really doesn't help them very much in this world landscape that they've created, that they're sending all this information back to China HQ. Ted, any thoughts?
Allegedly.
Yes.
Which they might
allegedly.
not be doing. According to Donald Trump, that's what they're doing, yes.
And Joe Biden as well.
The thing is that what they're saying is that they told everyone before they left their part of the exhibition at MWC that they should hand those things back in. And the people that are complaining about this are the people that didn't hand them back in. They've taken them back out on the floor with them. And yes, okay, it is a bit naughty not to tell these people that this is happening. But the interesting thing also about this story, the side bit of the story, is how huge apparently the Huawei display was. For a company that are kind of banned by half the world, they got into MWC, and apparently they had the biggest display of anyone on the show, and they just thrown everything at this display, and everyone was wowed by what they were doing. So there's that as well. I'm not quite sure the strategy when they know that they're not going to be able to function properly outside of China, or certainly in the West. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know.
You don't have any?
No, that's fine. They can have they obviously need to probably break back into markets somehow, but there's a large amount of companies that are still using them, so they need to salvage their business. They're obviously not hurting that much with America pulling the plug on their operations and the UK doing somewhat, or Google at least doing it. No, I don't think they're really reeling from the pain. They've probably just cut down their expectations for the amount of money they're bringing in, and looking for ways to try to work their way back in.
They've also just released this brand new flagship handset, which is only going on sale pretty much in China. It's the P40 something or other, the next one in line, and it looks like it's just fantastic. It's just such a shame, I think, that we're missing out on the whole deal with Huawei. I get what the issue is about, but no one's really proved it. Anyway, let's not get political. No.
Well, they could be sort of hoping that people will start talking to Google and going, look, their technology is so very exciting. I want it in my life. Please. And
it's
then
not
Google will eventually go ahead.
No, it's not Google. Google are only doing what the government is telling them to do. They're banning them from dealing with Huawei. So it's the government that need to change the rules so that if Google were allowed to, of course they would. They'd be back in like a rat out of an aqueduct. They'd be in there. Yeah.
That was almost a very clean metaphor there.
That's from The Life of Brian.
Oh, is it? Right, okay.
Mandy the mother. She's talking about Nauseous Maximus. You obviously don't. You need to watch it again.
It has been a long time. I have bad memories of that movie. I do. A girl splitting up with me halfway through it. I haven't really watched it terribly often.
Was she called Mandy?
No, she wasn't. I'm not even going to say her name. She doesn't deserve the airplay. Anyway. Starlink. We'll go on with that. I thought that was her name as well. She was called Starlink. Starlink allows customers to rent satellite broadband kits as opposed to buy them. Ted, this is one way that you could get your hands on Starlink. You could pay the one-time activation charge of £99, which seems a heck of a lot, and then pay the rental fee of £15 a month. And I'm guessing then you have to pay for your service on top of that.
£75 a month.
Ooh, right, okay. So it's still pretty expensive.
And you've got to sign up for a 24-month contract if you're renting the gear, £15 a month. And at the end of those 24 months, you don't then own the equipment. You continue to pay £24 a month to rent it. It really isn't that. On closer analysis, it's not that much of a good deal because you can buy this for 460 quid. And it'll soon... Anyway, yeah, I mean, some people would need it to get in the door. Our friend Ian Barton has done this, and he paid more than that for his equipment. So, obviously, the equipment is coming down in price, but you've still got to cough up £75 a month to use it, good and great as it may be.
Yeah, so 460 divided by, was it 24?
Yeah.
Is £19 a month. So you're paying £15 a month, and then you don't own it at the end of it. But then you've got that 15 times 24 equals 360, plus the £99 activation is £459.
Ooh,
so you're saving
spooky,
a pound, and you have to hand it back at the end of it. Don't know about that now.
But some people might
being able
need
to sell it on eBay.
Well, yeah, there is that. Some people that will help. Some people they'll get on board. And if I was convinced that the thing wasn't going to be nicked from my situation in my static, I might think about this. But I just fear that putting it, when I go away from the place, someone will nick it, and then you're into insurance and all that crap. But it sounds like it's really good. You've got to put it in line of sight of the sky, so it's got to be outside.
Oh. Well, no, whenever you're going away, stick it under the bed.
Every time you go away, go and get it in. I suppose you could bolt it to the seat, to the roof.
That involves drilling holes, and you've already established you don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Holes in your roof tend to leak. Okay, moving on to Samsung. Samsung's Tab S9 is going to have 3 sizes: small, medium, and large. No, not quite. We are going to have an 11-inch Samsung Galaxy Tab S9, a 12.4-inch Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Plus, And then the 14.6-inch Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. Wicked.
It's the same as last year.
Pretty much, yeah. But I just wish that... Well, obviously you have the S8 and you're quite pleased with the S8's screen technology, despite the fact it isn't as amazing on paper as it is on its bigger brothers.
Yeah.
And I think you said a couple of weeks ago that you wouldn't be able to tell the difference if you were sat down beside this and one of the S8 Ultra.
An OLED. So
Yeah.
so mine's an LCD, and the Ultra is OLED. What I would like about the 14.6-inch one, though, is that I would use it differently. I would use it as a permanent tablet on my desk, I think, onto one side, where you would scribe and write things, and you'd have all the benefits. I do quite like the thought of a 14.6-inch tablet. It's quite a nice idea, but they're so expensive that I wouldn't consider it. And the only thing that's different about this year's S9 over the S8s, apparently, is that they've added waterproofing. What use that is to people, I've no idea. You're unlikely to take your tablet scuba diving, are you? But all right.
I think you'd use it out in the rain if you're on a building site.
I think the point of this article is really that nothing is changing much, and that's also true of the upgrade to the S23 phone from the S22. That was the first thing that everyone was saying. Nothing's changing much. The consolidation, moving up to bigger models, newer models. Actually, if you've got the one before, don't bother, because there's not much difference. I think that's what I'm taking from this.
Yeah. No, it's a 24-month thing that people should be holding on to stuff for, not upgrading every year. And I think there's too many people who have that pride that they need to upgrade. They're just throwing good money away.
Right.
Yeah.
Or tech addicts.
True. But, well, I refuse to move to the Pixel 7. I stuck with the Pixel 6 because I'm a mature and responsible individual.
Yeah. Oh, talking of which, look, the next story is exactly the same point I just made, which is that the Galaxy Z Fold 5, which is allegedly coming this year at some point, is actually going to be pretty much the same as the Z Fold 4, which I've now got in my possession here. So again, yes, you're right. It should be a 24. People should get it in their brains. You update no sooner than 2 years. And that's what Apple users have been doing for some years, haven't they? They've been leaping across the other year, and that's what a lot of them do.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Although I am noticing that the Galaxy Z Fold range does tend to pop up in movies, and the villain is always using it.
Really?
Whereas the hero was running around with some slightly easier to use, sleeker phone. I'm not going to go that far. But what was it I was watching it the other night? Oh, I watched Luther, and the villain has a Z Fold, and I think Luther has a Nokia T3310 or something like that.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but I've just noticed it more and more bleeding in that the Z Fold is the phone of the villain.
That's interesting. I should watch Luther this week, and I'll look out for it now. But yeah, things are plateauing, and they have been for 2 or 3 years, really, haven't they? And understandably, I guess that COVID did something towards that all happening. I mean, it might be that in 2 years further down the line, new innovation will be taking off, and Motorola's Rizr phone will be the thing that everyone is doing, and there'll be great new leaps in innovation. Don't know, we'll see.
Well, no, I have to agree. Phones are becoming exciting again because we're starting to get different shapes, and we're out of that bland decade of candy bar phones. Would it be a decade? No, it's probably only 5 years or so. Whenever every phone that came along was just a slightly different candy bar, dull as dishwasher. But now we're getting folding phones, we're getting rotating phones, we're getting rising phones, we're getting diet phones, loads of them. It's great.
Coca-Cola phones.
Coca-Cola phones, indeed, yep.
Yeah.
Are we?
Yeah, that was the Realme, wasn't it? Realme released this Coca-Cola phone. And in actual fact, GSM Arena got one in and reviewed it, and it's exactly the same as the Realme phone without the Coca-Cola branding.
Oh, it's got a sticker on it. Ooh.
It's got some wallpaper, Coke wallpaper. Anyway, yes.
Well, whatever they can do to sell an extra handset, that's all they care about.
Yeah.
So, moving into in the name of the game. Sorry, yes, we have one here. This is Nintendo Life. It's done a feature with 50 years of landmark video games, one per year, all playable on the Nintendo Switch.
Yay!
I had a quick look through this earlier, and there are some pretty great little titles that are worth getting your Switch out for. Ted, how many of these have you played?
I didn't know that. No, don't start doing that, because you'd outpace me before we started. But I didn't realise that there was so many of these games that are nothing to do with Nintendo, but they are on the Switch. So they've done deals with, a bit like Evercade, I suppose. They've done deals with all sorts of these people, and you know all about this. And they've got them onto the Switch, so that everyone with a Switch can play pretty much whatever they like. Certainly historically. If you step back. Now, this has divided up this feature on Nintendo Life into 5 different pages, and the first page was a bit lost on me, but when it came to the second page I started to know some of the games, so the Super Mario stuff and the Tetris and Legend of Zelda, although I didn't actually ever play that one, but all the Yoshi and Mario and Super Mario World came along, which was where I started. Street Fighter 2, I remember playing that so much back in the day. Sonic the Hedgehog, you see, that's not a Nintendo title, and yet that's in there, and you can play it on a Switch. I don't know, I think that this article said to me how flexible the Switch is, but maybe you will disagree.
No, I had a run through it, and I thought, yeah, it's a great collection of games, and there are some absolute bangers in here. And right from the word go, the first one they suggest is from 1971, and that's the Oregon Trail. Which is an absolutely cracker game. It was originally designed to be an educational game, but it's brutal. It's really, really difficult. There's a movie as well, actually, which was lost, and they've never been able to find it again.
Anyway, graphics on that don't look like this is 1971, do they?
No, it's been upgraded and overdone many, many, many times. But one of the things I did note going through it was, it would be 1993 probably, if I can find it, is Doom. They mention Doom, and the first thing they say about it is the Switch port of Doom is the best version of the game ever released on a Nintendo system. That's not exactly high praise, bollocks, given that everything before that, every Doom port on a Nintendo console has been garbage. You look at the Super Nintendo one, it's terrible. But the Switch came along, and it's the first one that can actually effectively do it. Doom ports are generally garbage, and the best way to play it is PC, but the Switch seems to be up there a good bit. So,
I remember playing Doom. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it's a game that I think that you should complete on every platform you have.
I only played it on a PC though, but it's interesting that that's also available.
Yeah. No, it's a good list, a good tidy list, and it really shows that Nintendo are supporting the retro side of things quite nicely, and but I guess that's entirely because retro gaming is becoming so very important to a lot of us. Evercade has proved that they can make a games console based around it and make a sellable games console with a whole product market entirely in their own favour. The Evercade is quite ingenious whenever you actually boil it down. And then all those little retro consoles that have come out, the mini Super Nintendos, the mini PlayStations, the mini Commodore Amigas and Commodore 64s, are desirable. A lot of people want those. And I would say that actually Atari has really worked their way into homes again, because they did the Atari Flashback console, and there's a number of different ones of those with different games on them, and you can go and get them all and have a huge Atari library. and they'll happily license out those games to any console that comes along. And if they haven't got some sort of retro collection on that console, you've got to ask why. It's a bit strange that they're not letting that happen. And I'm glad that Nintendo have welcomed other labels on there, like Sega and Atari. But I guess it's probably one of those things, because they were hardware competitors at one stage, and I'm sure Nintendo's like, oh yes, we'll let your scruffy Wii games on our console. Go ahead, stick it on our Nintendo, which is still selling very, very well, unlike your hardware, Sega. But we can all hope one day that retro games become more and more available to everyone. Yes.
I'm still tempted to try and get my Switch Lite onto the telly, but the only way that I can find to do it is to buy a Switch, and that's quite a lot of money, so I don't feel inclined to do that. But I do, when I'm playing on my Switch Lite, I think, this would be so good on the telly, and there's no way to get it out onto the TV screen, which is a real shame.
It is, yeah. You can always buy a Steam Deck.
Yeah, it's not quite the same thing.
Yes, but you can emulate and then put it out on the TV.
Yeah, well, if I want to emulate, I've got a little mini SNES. I've got a mini SNES box, which if I really want to do it, I can stick that on. Mind you, the graphics are not very good, but then my eyes are knackered anyway.
Right, okay. So, moving into Flap Your Trap about an app. Ted, why have you been sending pictures of your gentleman's area to your doctor?
Because I've got this rash. I felt a little rash. Yes, there's some tech apparently coming along called... what's it called? Neurologics. And they reckon that in time to come, not too far away, you will be able to point your selfie camera using the software at your face, and within 30 seconds, the software will analyse your face and pick up huge amounts of data about your health from just analysing your skin and your pigmentations and your whatever it is about your face and blah, blah, blah. And then you'll be able to send it to a medic of some sort, and they'll be able to assess your health, which means you never need to go near a doctor. Doctors have to do less, and it will all work beautifully well. The system is called Transdermal Optical Imaging, or TOI for short. And apparently it was showcased at MWC, and a few people that tried it, they said that it appeared to be working. They got these huge readouts of pages and pages of stuff about their individual health, and it took me back to the time that I went to the optician, and they said to me, would you like a retina scan to give you a picture of your general health? And I didn't know what they were talking about. They charged me a tenner, so I said, yeah, okay. This is about 10 years ago. And sure enough, they got this photograph of the back of my eye, and they showed me on this photograph how they could tell about the different parts of the rest of my general health by looking at what's on the back of the eye. And I mean, from what I gathered afterwards, it's not all just smoke and mirrors. There is some good truth in it. So who knows? They've obviously, this Canadian company have obviously invested in this, so I guess it must be going somewhere, no?
Well, yeah, it does sound like it sounds like it could really help, but there's so much that could go wrong with it as well. And I'm just being the pessimist here. Like, imagine Snapchatting yourself, and then all of a sudden, oh no, they've accidentally been leaking it on the internet, and everyone can go and have a look and see what's wrong with you. It's one of those things that the security's got to be there and all that kind of stuff. I just see horror stories in the news about this one day. But the technology does sound like it could be incredibly helpful to the likes of our struggling NHS and things like that. And it'll stop people, going unnecessarily to the doctor. It does mean you'll have to teach the elderly how to do it, and they'll never believe it because it's all cloak and smoke and mirrors, wasn't it, you said?
Yeah.
Even if you were to have an app and try it on yourself, you could end up going, oh no, and finding out the worst things about yourself that you don't need to know. Yeah. Well, not that you do need to know, but you didn't want to have to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, the movement of technology, as we were saying earlier, though.
Yeah, it is. It'll be interesting to see. It looks a wee bit friendly, the app, in some of the screenshots, with hearts and stars and all sorts of things around it. But whenever you don't really want that friendliness. Whenever it's saying, "Oh yes, you've got gonorrheic urethritis, streptococcal keratitis, meningomyelitis, and interstitial keratitis."
Well, presumably, if there was something horrendously wrong with you, the people, your doctor, the medics involved, would not be just kind of telling you in the app. They would be analysing the information properly. I don't know. But this bloke that was testing it at MWC said that he got pages of his health info and analysis of risk factors for various problems. So perhaps they do just tell you.
Well, yeah, and they've got to link up to your doctor as well, rather than just keeping it to themselves.
Yeah. For which they'll get loads of money.
True, very true. Right, Qualcomm are doing their Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 phones, which are going to have inbuilt iSIMs in the actual processor, or the system on the chip. The phone won't even need an eSIM chip to get online, which is quite interesting as well. So it's a wee bit more like back in the days of, was it the American networks? They had, was CDMA, wasn't it, where there was all the SIM was built into the phone entirely.
I don't like this. Do you like this? I'd much rather have a physical SIM card, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I think that it's time that we started moving away, because I think SIM cards are somewhat confusing for people. Because I remember my wife finding a SIM card and going, "Oh, I wonder if there's any photographs on that." Yeah, you go ahead, you try.
I just don't like the fact that. Well, it's probably because I swap and change phones every 5 minutes, and having to go to a operator and hope that there's someone there that's going to do it efficiently, and and I do sometimes, because I'm reviewing phones and stuff. I switch phones multiple times a day. I'd just be forever doing this. So yes, let's not think about us, but think about ordinary people on the street. Then it's probably a good thing. The iSIM probably would be much more secure, although I'm not sure if it would be more secure than an eSIM. What they're talking about here is saving space in the phone, so that it's on the chip, and so you don't need another chip taking up space, which they will be able to produce centrally. So I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, boring conversation anyway. Next up, YouTube is removing overlay ads from their phones, starting on next month, isn't it? It's 6th of April. What exactly is an overlay ad?
Well, I don't know, except what it says on this article, because the thing is that I never see adverts on YouTube anyway.
Very true.
And because I'm a premium subscriber, and I just don't see these. But apparently, they're only this is only in relation to the web service, because these things have already been taken away from mobile and tablets and stuff. So it's only if you go in via a web browser that you're seeing these things anyway. And they're banners, advertising banners, which apparently, if you don't have premium and you're looking at YouTube on your computer, you see these banners. And that is, I think, what they're saying they're taking away for unsubscribing people who are using it on their computers. That's as I understand it.
All right. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I guess it really only will appeal to the people who aren't subscribing to YouTube Premium.
Yeah, which is an awful lot of people. I was at my mum's house the other day, and she wanted to look at something on YouTube, and she went in on her account to do it, and suddenly there's these adverts everywhere, and I said to her, "For goodness sake, how can you stand using YouTube like this?" And advert after advert after advert, watching a video, having to wait for it to start to watch an advert, and then halfway through there's another advert. I said to her, for goodness sake, pay £11.99 a month and get rid of this claptrap. But she just didn't seem bothered with it. And I think there's an awful lot of people that just accept it, like they do when they're watching ITV on the telly, you know. It's just part of life.
I know, it changes the way you do things as well. I obviously recommend people go onto YouTube and check out a tutorial on how to do something. You know, if they ask a question, it's like, oh, you check YouTube, you'll find out. But I forget that they have to jump through hoops in order to be able to watch something, because there's so many ads dividing up that video that they're trying to watch. It's not as convenient as the luxury that you and I both live in, because we can afford to pay the premium subscription. And I wonder what... You know, my stepdaughter, now that she's left the home, she has to pay that herself, and I know she doesn't. She hates YouTube now. She used to love it. She used to spend all her time looking at stuff, developing crap on YouTube, but now she's like, oh, this is awful. And she's doing things in order to be able to get 6 months free YouTube watching.
But people, but I think that people like my mother, for example, as a good example, she's just never seen anything other than that, and so she's completely used to it. And when I'm stood there saying, "For goodness sake, how can you stand it?" She's saying, "Well, but you know, it doesn't bother me. I just accept that. About if you use that, you watch their adverts." And as I say, I think there are an awful lot of people, laying aside your daughter, who are of that ilk. They've never known anything else, so it's okay. Don't know.
Well, yeah, she was raised without YouTube ads, because I took it out as soon as it was there, and we had ad blockers before that and all those sorts of things. But where, you know, people now coming out and having, if I go out of the house, I don't even like going onto the internet. On my phone, because I know there's going to be a whole rake of ads there, and I've never set up my Pi-hole to be able to use my DNS through the house while I'm out and about. I've been meaning to do that, but it takes time, and time's something I don't have. But you know, it's just like I'll look that up whenever I get home, because I'm just not dealing with ads and dealing with websites that thrust things at you.
Yeah.
Ooh, no.
I do agree. And yeah, you're right. It's what you get used to. So your daughter has come from an environment, unlike my mum, she's come from an environment of seeing the other side and how much better it is. My mum has never seen that side of it, so she just accepted it from day one, kind of thing. But
have you never had her down to yours for lunch?
Not and sat watch YouTube, no.
Oh, you should do that to her.
We tend to talk.
Oh.
Remember that?
No. Try to avoid it. Best call. Right. What's up next? What are we doing next? Oh, we've got Chrome Corner, where Ted's going to tell us what's new and exciting in the world of Chromebooks.
I'm stretching the point with one of them, but the first one is Chromebooks, which is the fact that there's soon going to be the ability to auto-launch PWAs on startup. I don't know if you use PWAs. I use a few of them, but they're very. If you use Chrome on a desktop, they're few and far between as to where you're offered a PWA, and you end up having to often just make a shortcut which launches Chrome, which is a bit pointless, but there are quite a lot of them that do. I quite like the PWA system, and what they're saying here about this story is that they're soon going to allow Chromebook users using Chrome OS to auto-launch a bunch of PWAs, so you can set
PWAs being progressive web apps for those who are not au fait.
Sorry. Yeah, progressive web app. So if you look in your a good place to see one is Twitter. So you'll go to twitter.com, and in the URL bar at the top you'll see on the right hand side a little picture of a computer and an arrow, and if you click on that it says install, and you can install the PWA, and the PWA then becomes a window in its own right, and you get an icon on your desktop if you want it there, and you can launch it from wherever you want or put it in your taskbar, which is what I do. So yeah, PWAs during startup makes it kind of a bit more Windows-like, where you can put whatever you like in Windows startup. Chrome OS is going to do the same thing, and you can launch as soon as you turn your Chromebook on. You can have a bunch of stuff just launching. That's what this story is about, and it'll be exciting for some people, I guess, and not for those that don't even know what a PWA is.
Yeah, and I try to avoid PWAs because I always find the website to be a richer experience. But taking out Microsoft Office recently because my wife's working from home and she needs it. I took out the family side of things. I was really annoyed to find out that Outlook doesn't work on Chromebooks. But I had a look at the Outlook.com PWA, and I was having to play with that. And it really doesn't solve the problem either of getting an effective Outlook experience on on a Chromebook. I do apologise.
Right.
But are PWAs really worth the effort that they're putting into it? What experience do you have of a PWA that does more than what the website does?
Well, if we take Twitter as an example, I installed YouTube PWA, and I think that works pretty much the same as it does with any other. On the fly, we'll do the Twitter one. On the show, except that there's a problem with your last action. Go away. Right, twitter.com, and then launch. And in the top corner, we have the install Twitter. So I click on that, install. And then I'm going to put that alongside twitter.com in a browser in Chrome, and launch the one against the other, one next to the other. Now, the only thing that I can see missing is all the crap on the right-hand side with the what's happening and who to follow claptrap. Everything else is exactly the same. You can also resize the window. Oh, no, sorry. Yes, if you resize it, you get that column back. And it's exactly the same, Gareth. There's no difference at all. It's just an envelope inside a Chrome wrapper, which makes it so it's not in Chrome, and it's less resource hungry, and it works better and more slicker. Can't have that really. More slickly than it would do on a website. So I disagree with you. In my experience of using PWAs, there's not a huge amount of difference.
Okay, all right. We'll go with that last comment.
Okay.
There's not much difference. Great.
Well, play with it a bit more. What's annoying?
I disagree with you. There's not much difference.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
The trouble is that not everyone does it. So you want to put one into your computer or whatever, and you go to look for it, and it's not there. And you think, oh bugger. And then so you install a shortcut, and that's just going to launch an instance of Chrome, full Chrome, gobbling up all your resources and what have you. So it's a bit pointless. But yeah.
But the whole point of a Chromebook is that it runs Chrome, and it runs Chrome better than it does on a Windows desktop, and it shouldn't be gobbling up all your resources because it's a Chromebook.
But the other side of the actual Chromebook, as opposed to a Windows computer working with Chrome, is that you can also get the Android apps going. So Android apps will also be factoring into this new startup thing for Chrome OS. So essentially what they're going to do is whatever you use on your Chromebook, whether it's PWAs, Android apps, or instances of Chrome, or whatever you're doing on your Chrome OS device, you can just launch what you like at startup. That's the point of the story. It's just all about... It's nothing new. It's just that they're going to let you do it from startup.
Amazing.
So let's move on to the other one, which is it's a dubious entry for Chrome Corner, but and I don't know why I put it here really, but it's just that the Google I/O has been announced for 2023, and they've set it for May the 10th, and May the 10th only. So there are some developers that are kind of up in arms about that because they want their week-long kind of sandboxing fun times with all the stuff around the exhibition and the event, and they're not getting it because they're going to just do basically a one-day presentation, and then
because they don't have that much to report. We're making PWAs be able to launch at boot.
Stop whinging, you tart. And so what they are going to announce, we think, at Google I/O this year is on May the 10th is the Pixel 7a and the Pixel tablet and the Pixel Fold. Now, you would have seen, no doubt, in the tech press this week, the Pixel Fold. Some bloke has been seen on a train somewhere. Was it New York, wasn't it? Using the Pixel Fold, and it's out in the world. No doubt he was planted there, and it's all a publicity stunt. And someone else took photographs of them, and no doubt that was also a plant to make sure there was someone there to take photographs of him. And he was using the folding device. It looks like it's an interesting Oppo style what's it called? The N2, is it? Device?
Yeah, N2 Flip.
It more so than the Samsung Fold, which is tall and slim when it's shut. This looks more actually heading towards the Oppo one and heading towards the Surface Duo kind of device. So that'll be interesting. A slightly different form factor than what Samsung are going with, and it'll be interesting to see that. The Pixel 7a, I think the big news with the details of that are that the 7a is likely, for me anyway, is likely to have the same tensor chip as the 7 and the 7 Pro, but also wireless charging. Now the wise money is on it being very, very low power wireless charging, like 5 watts, which puts it in the same ballpark as my Motorola Edge 30 Neo. That's got 5 watt wireless charging. At least it's got it, is what I say. And overnight charging with the Neo is absolutely fine on 5 watts. It's no problem at all. So the 7a will be so much better than the 6a because of that. And also, it's slightly smaller. If all the leaks are correct, of course. This is all leak-based stuff. The 7a is likely to be 6.1 inches, which is just great. It's moving down a step back towards the Pixel 5 size, and I love that, and I think it's going to be excellent. And then there's the Pixel tablet. Incidentally, the 7a is going to look pretty much the same as the 6a. In fact, exactly the same. They're not moving away from any of the design language. And the Pixel tablet is kind of your department, really, but I think what they're talking about with the tablet is that it's going to form part of this kind of home-based thing with stands and stuff and all the rest of it. We've already seen the tablet. They rolled that out last autumn, so that might well be the one device that they're going to push out straight away, along with the Pixel 7a. Like, order it tomorrow and you can have it delivered next month or something. The 7a and the Pixel tablet. The Fold, I think, will be just like, here's what we're working on, and probably in autumn we'll release it with Android 14, that kind of thing. So yeah, there you go. Any comments or thoughts, or looking forward to seeing what they've got?
I'm most interested in the Pixel tablet.
Okay.
Yeah, I really want to see what this is about and how they're trying to factor this into the home. Whether or not because obviously your tablet is somewhat unique to you. People don't tend to use like a family tablet in the house. Maybe some people do, but I wouldn't say that most people do that. So this what they're doing here does feel more like it's a communal tablet that sits in the middle of the house. Maybe you pick it up and you have to pick who's signing into it, and it has multiple different accounts on it. But not for the likes of yourself or myself to just grab on our way out the door on the commute and use, because it's got a weird stand that feels like it's designed to go in the middle of the kitchen and help people cook. I need to know more about this and see exactly what they announced about this, because it doesn't make sense for me right now. I'm worried that it's going to be just a crap tablet that's designed for the home and not for you to take with you. But yeah, the Fold does sound very exciting, and I do look forward to seeing what they do there. That is, for many people, you know, I would like to move to a folding device, but I'm still quite happy with being in the Pixel zone. So having a new Pixel Fold is an enticing device for many a sod out there like myself. So yeah. I look forward to seeing what they do in, what was it, May the
10th. Yeah,
May the 10th. That's a long way away, and I'm sure we'll get many more leaks before then, so that they don't have to spend so much time banging on about it.
Yeah. It does look interesting, though, and the link in the show notes goes to Tom's Guide, where they've got tons of information about, well, obviously nothing confirmed, but they've got loads of pictures, including that bloke on the tube being seen with the thing. And if you look at that picture on the tube there and see the size it is, even though it's like the kind of form of the Surface Duo, it's not big like the Surface Duo. He's holding that in his hands, and it looks much more manageable in terms of size. And it looks like a nice device. I hope it does look like this, because what these renders actually make it look very attractive to me.
Yeah. I did notice actually the other day whenever I got into my car, I had the new Android Auto update. And it was showing a bunch of other apps as well on the same screen, which was kind of nice. So I had my navigation. I think it showed my Pocket Cast and Windows or YouTube Music, which was kind of nice, all divided up on the screen.
Right.
But then I clicked Waze, because I use that for traffic navigation, and it all went away. Because it doesn't support it yet. So they've got to build this screen sharing thing into each individual app. Although, it's using Google Maps, it brings up the whole split screen thing. But I do like what they've done with Android Auto. It's something that they should be developing a lot more, because people do need to use their phones while they're driving.
I don't.
And they can't. Well, yeah, I suppose that's a fair point.
I've actually never used Android Auto ever, and I haven't got a car, so it's not going to work on my moped. Well, I suppose it might.
The thing I don't understand about Android Auto is that apparently you can use it wirelessly now, but it depends on the car. So you have to go and change your car to be able to get wireless Android Auto.
Right.
Which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, very silly.
But I do like Android Auto. It's a useful feature whenever it works.
There's a lot of talk about it in the MeWe group, I have to say, even though that it's all outside of my zone. There's clearly a lot of people that use it. There's hardly a day goes by these days where there's not someone saying they've got a problem with it and how do you fix this, and everyone's helping each other with Android Auto. So you should leap in and help them.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that. Which group is that in?
It's mainly in the PSE chat area that tends to go on, but it just pops up very regularly, and they obviously want to use it, but Google don't make it work very well.
Yeah, no, it is very, very handy. I like it. I do like it a good bit, but it could do with more and better stuff. All right, bargain basement. We got some cheapies to talk about.
What's happened to Harkback?
Oh, we're not going to do Harkback. Ricky was supposed to do it this week.
Ricky's fault.
Prepare. So next week, or next fortnight, sorry folks, sorry, I'm not getting anyone too excited there. And the next fortnight, we'll get Ricky to talk about something that we discussed last week.
Yes.
Assuming
he turns up.
Of course he will.
Hello, Ricky. I wonder if he listens. Hello, Ricky.
He does. He does.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
That's why we told him before that something was happening.
Okay, we're missing you.
There's first one I can't actually open for some reason. I have to set up my WireGuard properly. It's not letting me open my own links to Amazon. The first one is the Honor Pad 8, which is a 12-inch Wi-Fi tablet. It's got an octa-core processor inside it. It's got 4 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage, a 2K screen. Oh my word, it's sold out. Wow.
No, it's not sold out here. It's just not the price you had it. I've got it for sale at 188.09, and they'll deliver it tomorrow. Oh no, that's a warehouse. Oh no, that's a used one you've linked to.
No, it was the original one. But there's the Honor Pad X8, which is a 10.1-inch Wi-Fi tablet. Wow, 4 gigabytes and 64 gigabytes of storage. No, if you watch the Honor Pad 8, you can get the 128 gigabyte storage version for the same price as the 64 gigabyte storage version. But it's now sold out. Bugger me. This is a really good looking tablet.
That link has gone to the used department for me. That's really weird.
It has, yeah, because they've run out of the the store-bought one. So yeah, if you're looking for a tablet, keep an eye on Amazon for the Honor Pad 8. It's a good-looking 12-inch tablet.
It'd be interesting to have a look at the Honor website and see if there's a deal going on there, because I bet you there is. It's called High Honor, the Pad by Honor Pad 8 by. How much is it? Oh, here we go. 199 quid. So yeah, not as cheap as it was on Amazon.
Okay.
And they do have them.
Right.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Okay, moving into yours, which might be a wee bit more successful.
Oppo, I hope so. Oh, I better check now, hadn't I? The Oppo Find X5. So this is not the Pro version, it's the ordinary version. This is being sold on Amazon for £441.99. However, it is coming from a third-party seller, so buyer beware. It's not coming from Amazon themselves. And it is the 256 gigabyte, 8 gigabyte RAM version, and it used to be 750 quid, and it's now 442. So lots of money off. I don't know anything about this Tech Olek UK company, so but it seems to be getting quite good reviews. Tech Olek.
Okay, well at least they still have some and they haven't sold out. Because my next one is actually about to sell out because they've only got one left in stock. They had loads this morning.
They always say that.
But I did these about 20 minutes before we started recording, so in the last 2 hours, or 3 hours, they've sold out. So there's one left of the Sabrent USB Type-C hub with HDMI and 2 USB 3.0 ports. This does 4K and 60-watt power delivery. Now, the reason why I didn't snap one of these up is because it doesn't have Ethernet on it, and that's something that I very much want from the dongles. But if you're looking for something to hook up to your laptop that you don't need Ethernet with, but you still want that 60-watt power delivery, this is it, and it's only a tenner. I've got one left. Quick! Be sold by the time I've got this out.
There's a link at the top there to a Sabrent £16.99. Is that got? Oh no, that hasn't got Ethernet either.
No. You just can't get everything in one, which is annoying.
Yeah, what a load of rubbish.
Totally.
Right, okay. What's the next one? Oh yeah, the Lenovo IdeaPad Duet 3, which is on sale at the moment from $349 to $249. This reviews really, really well. It's an 11-inch device. It's the upgrade from the Duet, basically. It's a bit bigger. It's got an 11-inch screen instead of a 10-inch screen, and it's a 2K OLED screen, which is better as well. Snapdragon 7C Gen 2 chipset. Included in your 249 is a keyboard and USI pen. The device has got a 12-hour battery, depending on how you use it, of course, and 2 USB-C 3.1 ports. So I'm assuming that HDMI out would work with that. I don't know. It certainly qualifies to work. But anyway, 128 gigabyte, 4 gigabyte RAM. This reviews really well. I saw that Robbie on Chrome Unboxed did a review of this, and he was all over it, and that's knocked £100 off. So good bargain, I reckon.
Absolutely, that's a good looking device. And you bought the first one, isn't it, for your mum?
Yes, yeah, the older, cheaper one, and that's still going fine. It's a good little device, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Lenovo know how to knock these out of the park, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up is an SD card, and this time it's from Kingston. And this is a 256 gigabyte Canvas Select Plus SD card, Class 10 UHS 1. In black, and it is £18 and 59p. Now, people may go, what's an SD card? It's down from £38, but crucially, this has a lifetime guarantee on it.
Yeah.
So if it fails at any point during yours or Kingston's lifetime, they'll replace it, which is nice. And that happens quite frequently on SD cards, I have noticed.
Have you got devices that take full-size SD cards? The only one that I've got that I can think of is my Zoom recorder, but mostly it's all micro now.
Yeah, it would be nice if it was a micro version, but, cameras and 4K cameras and stuff like that would use these sorts of things, so that's the kind of thing that you would need the reliability, and I'd buy two, and if one of them fails, you can send it back and then use the other one. But 256 gigabytes in an SD card, that's pretty good for £19, or £18.59.
Very good indeed. And my last one is, well, it's a bit of a stretch for tech addicts, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's more of a whatever works item, really, which is our sister podcast, incidentally. So do have a look at that, where me and Aidan Bell have lots of fun. Anyway, the Ninja blender
Aidan Bell's our sister?
He'd like to think so. Ninja blender and soup maker, which is just I bought this I got some. It was bought for my birthday actually. It was £150, and it's now £129, and it's just an absolute bargain at that price. Go and buy it and get one, because if you like soup, it's just brilliant. It's the best, bar none. It's the best soup maker I've ever used. It's really good. And it also is a blender, so you can do what you like with it. Really, really good. And this one, let me just check to see if the price is still right. It is £129. Phew.
Or you can get that on Amazon monthly payments as well. 5 months, £25.80 a month.
Oh no, it's swapped round again. You're getting them and I'm not.
Oh no, I had to click through. There's enhance your purchase and then payment plans. I wasn't getting offered it.
All right.
By default. I had to find that in the. You might be able to find it too.
Where is it?
Do you see payment plans?
No. Where's the button?
It's there, pointing at it, just to save some time. Does it say enhance your purchase?
Where? Whereabouts on the screen?
Listing on the website, amazon.co.uk/ninja-maker-blender.
Yeah, but where am I looking on the screen to see that button?
Well, it depends on where your screen is set up. If you've scrolled down the screen, then it's up at the top of the screen. If you've scrolled up at the top of the screen, then it should be there.
I think the answer is no, but unless you can describe to me where it might be more
Do you want to get a
accurately.
ruler and measure from the top of the screen down?
Is it on the right-hand side or the left-hand side?
It's in the middle. If you've got
middle?
the picture of the blender, and then across from the blender it says Ninja Blender. It's all right, folks. We're only sitting at 1 hour 20. We should have Ted finding this by at least the 2 hour mark. Okay, so we've got Ninja Blender Soup Maker. Then it says visit the Ninja store. Then we've got a star rating, and then we've got the £129. Then we've got Prime. Then free returns. Then we've got from that with Barclays offer.
Yeah, got that.
And then down that below that you've got enhance your purchase.
No.
Oh.
I do not have that.
Does it go straight to brand Ninja Color Black?
Yes.
Oh.
After the Barclays thing, it just goes straight to, that.
Right, okay. Well, there we go, folks. That's sorted that all out.
Amazon are just wonky, aren't they? They present different options to... Well, the two of us is an interesting example because it's so often different.
They're only wonky when they don't offer it to you. They're never wonky when they offer it.
Anyway, 129 quid. Buy a soup maker. The soup is absolutely lovely. And all the stuff that's built into it does qualify it for tech addicts, because there's tons and tons of programs and techie stuff, and you can program it to do this and that and the other. It's great fun.
Well, she's quite hot as well.
Yeah.
What soup's that? She's making sweet potato, strawberries, and cashew nuts.
All sorts of options. You can also it's got a option to make jam. I'm going to have a go at that at some point. And milkshakes and just all sorts. It's really, really good fun.
All sorts, like licorice, all sorts.
Licorice, all sorts. Bassets.
Wow. That'd be nice.
Yes.
Nice. All right. Well, that about brings us to the end. We could sort of sign off and let people go on about their lives, couldn't we?
Yeah, we're about 15 minutes early, which would have been the time for Harkback.
Ah, right. Excellent. Well, unfortunately, folks, we'll have double Harkback. No, we won't. We'll just have Ricky do it next week. Okay, grand. If you want to get in touch with us, you can by emailing us at gareth@techaddicts.uk, and you can also find us at techaddictsuk on Twitter. I happen to be on Twitter as well, if you want to go and complain about the moronic things that I warble on about each week, and that's at Gareth Miles, GarethMyles. I'm also on Mastodon, and I have my GarethMiles.com as well. Ted, where can they find you?
TedSalmon.com is where I am. Links to all the stuff I do there, audio podcasts, and all the MeWe groups. Do join us and chat about all that stuff. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that. It's paypal.me/TedSalmon. And I do have a Mastodon link in there as well. But have you... I have just realised I haven't been to Mastodon at all this week. And it's kind of gone off my radar. Do you still...
I'm pretty sure it's still there, even though you haven't gone to it.
Do you still use yours?
I did. I went into it the other day when I posted Projector Room, and I put the picture in.
Oh, right. I've forgotten all about Mastodon. I'll try harder.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, well, it's still the superior version of Twitter. There. Yeah.
Okay, then. Anyway, that's where you can find me. And, do come and join us in the MeWe groups, everyone. It's good fun, and we need to hear about your tech stuff in your life.
Excellent. All right. Well, take care. We'll speak to you all in a fortnight's time with more random bullshit.
Drivel.
Bye-bye.
Bye.